Robinson 911, much emergency? I got up this morning. I was in my son's room sitting sleep. My back door was open. My husband's guns are all gone. And there's blood on the bed, and he is drinking foam stuff out of his mouth. And he's making it god-awful today.
Within a matter of minutes, patrol cars rolled up to the house. Inside, officers found no shattered glass, no splintered frames, no sign that anyone had forced their way in. What should have been a ransacked gun cabinet told a different story. The firearms that were supposedly stolen were neatly stacked in a careful pile by the door. And when Darlene dialed 911, she didn't sound like a wife fighting the clock to keep her husband alive. She sounded like someone building a defense, emphasizing what she saw, how she reacted, almost as if she were already answering accusations no one had voiced yet. All the while, Keith was bleeding out, every passing second critical, and still no one had suggested she was the shooter. Even one of the responding officers quietly noted that something about the scene and her demeanor just didn't fit. Keith was rushed from the house to the hospital in critical condition, clinging to life. While doctors worked on him, detectives turned their attention to Darlene. They invited her to the station under the guise of helping them understand what happened, framing it as a routine conversation, nothing more than a chance to clear things up. In truth, the moment she walked into that interview room, it wasn't a chat, it was the start of her interrogation.
Y'all's activity from last night to this morning?
Well, I didn't get home until probably around 8 o'clock, maybe a little later than that. I had to go to Temple. I had a friend of mine that was down there. And so I went to go see how she was doing. Keith had the boys. And I got in, I said maybe about 8:15, something like that. And of course, Chase was the oldest, was passed out on his bed. He was tired from school. And changed diapers, got him ready for bed, laid with him for a little bit, just trying to get him to chill out. And then Keith and I sat down and talked in the living room, just about normal things, and of course money and everything else, and what we need to do to, to get out of debt and everything else. And
About what time was that?
oh, we didn't go to bed until almost 11. So I'd say anywhere between 9:30 to 11 or so. We were in the living room talking. Well, I take that back. Probably till 10:30 or so, because then I went into the shower.
Okay.
And then he was already turning out the lights and everything when I got out of the shower. And
Y'all go to bed in the same room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We always start out that way.
Okay.
And the kids were all sleeping in one room. And between 1 and 1:30, the middle one started hollering. So I went in there.
What's the
Cody.
Cody.
He's 2.5.
Okay.
So I went in there trying to calm him down. Got him not back to sleep, but I just told him he had to lay down and hush and quit hollering because he's going to wake everybody else up. And then I went back to bed. And
Back to y'all's room?
yeah, back to our room. And probably about an hour after that, Cade, the youngest one, was up hollering. So I went and put the pacifier back in his mouth.
How was Kate?
19 months. I went and put the pacifier back in his mouth and tried to get him to chill out. And he went drifted on back to sleep. And so I went back to our room. And I guess I was in there until about 3:15, 3:30, something like that. And changed clothes because I had shorts, a little short night set thing. And I was freezing, so I put the longer ones on and went in there with them, laid down at the foot of the bed. And by this time, Chase was up, the oldest, wanting something to drink, and I told him he had to go to the bathroom, so he went to the bathroom, went and got him something a drink of water or something on the refrigerator, and he came back, and Cody and Kate were both up. So we put Homeward Bound on, which is one of their favorite movies, and we just kind of laid there. And before I do it, I was asleep, and apparently everybody else was too, until almost 6. I do remember waking up probably about 5:15 or so, and I rolled over and looked at his clock and said, I'm not getting up. I didn't have to be up to about 5:45, so I said, I'm going to take my extra 30 minutes. And before I knew it, apparently it was back out, and then Kate's jumping on my head, the oldest, and it was 5 minutes after 6 by his.
The detective opened with a gentle prompt, asking Darlene to walk them through, in her own words, everything from the previous night into the early morning. It's a classic rapport-building tactic. Let the subject talk, settle into a story, and reveal how they choose to tell it. Darlene answered with an almost meticulous timeline. She listed arrival times, diaper changes, the children's names, even the specific movie they watched. None of it was incriminating on its face, but the sheer volume of small domestic details served a purpose. It filled the space where genuine emotional reflection might have appeared. Overly precise timelines are often used to project honesty, a way of saying, "Look how clearly I remember." Meanwhile, her body said what her words didn't. Darlene's eyes rarely met the detective's. When they did, it was only for a fleeting second before dropping back down. Her arms stayed crossed tightly across her chest, her posture closed and guarded. In interviews with genuinely grieving spouses, you often see reaching gestures, leaning forward when describing painful moments. Darlene did the opposite. She pulled inward, conserving her energy for control rather than emotion.
And then you said about 6 o'clock is when you got up.
Yeah, it was 6.
Tell me the events about that and what woke you up, or
Literally him jumping on my head, the baby jumping on my head is what physically made me realize I'm already late. I need to get up, get moving, and ran to the hall bath, and then I ran into the kitchen to get the boys something to drink. Gave them that. They're following me, and I told Chase that Dad's alarm's going off again, as usual. And he's hollering, "Daddy, turn it off." And I'm going, "Keith, turn off your alarm." And I got to the little foyer, like by our bedroom, and I told Chase, I said, "It's cold in here." And that's when I saw the back door open, which is the, I guess you say side door, not really the back door. And so all I did was go into the room, turn on my lamp, and I just slammed the door shut. And when I turned around, I realized the gun cabinet was open, and there were no guns inside of it. And so then I screamed at Keith to tell him that his guns were not in the gun cabinet, that he needed to get up. And the boys were already in the bedroom. Cade was crawling up on my hope chest that's by my bed, and all I did was tell him to get down because I could hear the noise however you wanted. Sorry.
take your time.
He snores, so I kept thinking it just sounded different. It didn't sound like he always snores. So I put the light on in the bathroom, and when I turned around, I could see his stomach, like he was breathing with all of his muscles that he had in his abdomen. And then I realized that he had foam coming out of his mouth. And I tried to holler at him, told him Keith, and I kind of hit him. And didn't make any other noises than what he was already making. And then I realized I saw blood on the sheet. And then that's when I just grabbed my cell phone. Of course, it was off, so I had to wait for it to turn on. And I'm trying to get the boys.
Do y'all not have any house phones, just cell?
We just got rid of it, trying to find ways to save money. So, and actually, it's only been turned off for a little over a week. And We were just trying to save $40. And so I had to wait for my cell phone to turn on, and I just punched in 911. I was trying to get the boys out of the room because I didn't want them seeing him. And that's when I made the call, and I told her who it was and where I lived and what he was doing and what I saw. And she dispatched police right away and kept me on hold, and I had to talk to the EMS people. And then I remember letting the police officer in the front door, but I don't remember if I hung up on the EMS people. I have no idea.
So you were talking to the police dispatcher. She transferred you to the EMS people.
Okay.
When Darlene describes the moment she discovered the scene, her voice remains level, controlled, almost unnaturally steady. Her gaze stays mostly fixed on the floor. She looks up occasionally, then quickly retreats back down. In interrogation psychology, that kind of limited eye contact at this stage isn't usually simple shyness. It often signals an effort to maintain control. She's not just talking to the detective, she's managing the narrative inside her own head. Her account of that morning is striking for what it leaves out. She says she noticed the door open and saw that the gun cabinet was empty, yet never once mentions being afraid that someone might still be inside the house. There's no instinctive fear, no rush to protect the children, no talk of hiding or calling out for help. Instead, she says her first response was to yell at Keith that his guns were gone, a strangely detached reaction for someone who might believe armed intruders were nearby. Then come the extra flourishes. The temperature in the room, her son's comment about the alarm, the specific wording of what she claims she said. This is cognitive overcompensation, padding the story with harmless details to make it sound more authentic. Ironically, it often has the opposite effect, suggesting rehearsal. When emotion finally breaks through, it does so in short, uneven bursts. She cries while describing Keith's condition, then moments later laughs lightly about canceling their landline to save $40. That abrupt shift in tone is a classic example of discordant affect, a sign of emotional disconnection rather than spontaneous grief.
Did you hear any peculiar noises throughout the night from, I don't know, you started getting up about 1:30 with Cody,
Mm-hmm.
and then an hour later with Cade, and then about 3:15, 3:30 with Chase.
Other than the dogs barking, and Gunner's normally, we've had him from a puppy. We've only had that other dog for a couple of weeks, maybe a week, something like that. Gunner's normally very good and doesn't just bark and bark and bark. But he was carrying on, and I hollered at him once to stop it. And I honestly, I do not know. I don't know if it wasn't the first time I got up, because I don't remember hearing him then.
You a heavy sleeper or a light sleeper?
Normally, I've been having issues sleeping, period, here lately. Normally I'm fairly, I'd say light just because of kids, but once they wake me up, I'm very light. But that first, when I go out, I'm out until I get woke up. But I can't tell you.
So it's kind of in between heavy and light.
Yeah.
So Gunner was barking, and that's the older dog. You have two dogs.
Yeah, he's 9 months. But and even Keith made comments that he, some dogs just yelp and yelp and yelp. He does it unless he sees something or somebody walking or something like that. Every once in a while, we have them greyhounds that are behind us, and they'll get wound up, and he'll bark at them, but it's normally not too much of an issue. And I and he was barking last night, and I opened up the French doors and I fussed at him, told him to get on the porch and hushed, and then he came over here and laid down.
That was when? The other night?
No, that was this past night.
Last night.
And, but I don't, it wasn't the first time I got up. It had to have been in between when, I got up at 2 something.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know it wasn't when I had my pants on, and I didn't change into those until I went and laid down physically with the boys, because I was standing at that back door freezing in my shorts.
Okay. So, was it 3:15 and 3:30? So when you got up to change clothes from the shorts because you were cold.
Yeah.
And you got up with Chase then.
Well, it was actually the baby that was hollering, but Chase was awake too.
Okay.
And I just made him go to the bathroom until he wanted something to
So,
drink.
the dog was sometime between 1:30 and 2 something is when you went out to the door.
Yeah.
Did you see anything?
No, and we've got a light that's back there by that gray shed, that tin shed, and it doesn't illuminate a lot of things, but I mean, I didn't notice anything different because there's always shadows out there just because of all the trees and stuff we have.
Is it a motion light?
No, it's on all the time. I mean, when it's dark.
Dark. So the light stays on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it one of those lights that come on when it goes dark and goes off? Okay.
Yeah. And we don't have to physically turn it on and off.
That's on the back corner of the house?
No, that's out by the
Tree line or?
silver shed that Keith built. It's at the back of our fence. Not the back of our property, the back of our fence. And where Gunner ran from when I hollered at him, he was in between the back fence and the where our trampoline's at.
Okay, so he barking.
But I don't know which direction he was barking at. I just know that's the area he ran from and came and laid down.
Back fence and trampoline.
But Willie has the guy that owns land behind us, got several horses and a donkey and all kind of stuff back there too. So, you know, I don't pay any attention to, because he'll bark at them too. But
That was about
roughly maybe between 2:15 and 2:30, because it was almost like every hour they were getting me up. Just that time I'd get good and asleep, somebody would go to hollering.
any problem with any of the neighbors? Excuse me, I'm sorry.
No, I mean, I have in-laws all the way around me. And definitely not with my mother-in-law and father-in-law.
They live on the east side of you.
You're talking to people. If left or right. If I'm looking at my house, I'm going left.
It's on the left.
Yeah, I'm not good with direction.
And your husband's sister lived on your right.
With her husband and her 2 boys and her oldest son's now wife and their little baby.
Wow, so she's got a grandson.
Grandbaby girl. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, and they always had people, like younger kids running around and stuff, but we never had any issues with them. I mean, it's not a...
At night, y'all lock up?
Normally, I mean, it's normally not, we normally don't leave anything open except our vehicles. And I know I did go throw out, Cody had poop. I guess that was why he woke me up at 1:30. He had pooped in his diaper and wanted to be changed. And I know I did go out the side door to throw the poopy diaper in a Walmart bag in the black barrel out there like we always do. But honestly and truly, I don't remember if I physically locked the door back. So I'm not going to say one way or the other because I don't know.
So you went out that side door, throw a poopy diaper out, about what time?
That was when he woke up the first time at 1:30.
1:30.
Mm-hmm.
Normally the doors are locked except the vehicles.
Mhm.
And you keep the keys in the vehicles. Did you notice anything odd in that den area? That one when you went through?
No, I mean, honestly, I didn't even turn the lamp on. So, I keep as many lights off as possible just because,
Same electricity.
I just normally walk through. And I physically unlock the door to get out because it's hard to kind of unlock because it kind of sticks in the deadbolt does.
Yeah.
And that's normally the only one we lock on that door is the deadbolt.
When the detective asks if she heard anything unusual during the night, Darlene immediately brings up the dogs, especially the older one, Gunner. She explains that he doesn't usually bark for no reason, that he only carries on when he sees someone outside, and she reinforces it by saying Keith used to make the same observation. It's a subtle move. By highlighting the dog's behavior and backing it up with her husband's past comments, she's quietly building credibility for an intruder narrative. If Gunner was barking a lot, then surely someone must have been out there. But that's where the cracks show. Darlene can recall small, non-essential details with near-perfect clarity: the approximate time she woke up, the Walmart bag she used to toss a dirty diaper, bits of conversation from the kids. Yet when the detective focuses on the key question, whether she locked the door after stepping outside, her memory suddenly goes foggy. That isn't a random blank spot. It's a selective gap, one that conveniently allows for the possibility that someone entered through an unlocked door without her having to admit to it outright. Her "I don't remember" keeps the intruder option alive while shielding her from being caught in a lie. Combined, the barking dog and the conveniently forgotten lock form a story that, on the surface, sounds plausible, but underneath feels crafted rather than genuinely remembered.
You mentioned y'all were trying to save some money. Have y'all been having some financial problems? Or?
Well, we're just, this third kid, and it's killing us basically. So we've just been trying to butt heads, figure out which way, because of course we are getting behind on some bills, and it's just been one thing after another. So we're trying to figure out how we need to go about it, and we were discussing if we needed to do a home equity loan, that line of credit that they're talking about. Of doing it just to pay everything off, so that way we wouldn't be late on anything, and because that's the one thing Keith is a fanatic about is his credit, and I'm the world's worst at it. So
Y'all argue about that a lot?
Well, we don't. I wouldn't say we argue a lot about it, but we do argue about it. I mean, it's not something we argue every day about, but we do argue about it. I'd say at least every 2 months or something like that, we're getting into a heated discussion. Well, why didn't you pay this one instead of, and he's fussing at me for juggling things and trying to, waiting almost to the last minute to pay something, so that way we made sure nothing bounced.
Right.
So, but other than that, that's the only true issues we even have.
How was the marriage?
Fine. Other than trying to figure out how to raise these 3 kids. And that's what I was telling him last night. I finally got my year raise 2 months later.
Raises are hard to come.
No, they actually gave me $2. So I was excited, and so was he.
So he works at Brazos Electric. Mm-hmm. How long have you been working there?
I think it'll be 4 years in March.
And you work?
You can put WGEC is the Waco Gastroenterology Endoscopy Center. EC. It's owned by Waco Gastro and Associates.
Gastrointestinal. Waco Gastro.
You're getting me confused. Waco Gastroenterology Endoscopy Center.
How long have you been working there?
It was a year this past September.
Y'all have insurance to y'all's prospective companies, life insurance, health insurance?
our health and dental is through Keith's work, and I just filled out a thing to put him and the boys possibly on mine because Brad's talking about going up again, but that's not set in concrete yet. And I think with Braz's there's a small life insurance like on the boys, like maybe a 10,000 or something like that with them, and then Keith and I both have life insurance with Farm Bureau.
That comes out of y'all's check.
No, that's a direct draft.
Keith seemed depressed about the money issue, or
Well, I mean, he hasn't been himself the last probably, I don't know, year and a half or so. And I know he's stressed just because, I mean, it's a lot. He's one of those firm believers that, you know, he's supposed to be the man of the house and he's supposed to be making the money, and tell him all the time he should have been born back in the early 1900s. But I don't know. And, you know, never been diagnosed with depression. But me and his mother, we had a pretty heated discussion, I guess, actually on my birthday, the 2nd of November.
did she disagree with you, or?
Oh no, I mean, because he just flies off the handle and he gets so upset. And I know it has nothing to do with the person that he's talking to. It's just everything is finally built up, and then he just.
So you and your mother-in-law had a heated discussion about Keith.
Yeah, and I was venting basically, just talking about how, because he'll lose it with the kids, and then I get upset, and it just.
Was she on your side, or y'all?
Oh, she absolutely loves her son. Do not get me wrong, because, and he loves her. It's just, he has never known how to talk to his parents or me. It's like he's afraid to show his emotions. So let's get mad about it. And I said it to her, and he's admitted it to me that he knows by some form or fashion he is depressed, but he would never do anything about it. I mean, that's.
Think he capable of hurting himself?
No, I mean, I honestly, truly, he loves them boys too much. I mean, there's no way. There's no way. I mean,
But if he's that depressed, Darlene, if he loves those boys that much, he doesn't want to see them do without. Do you think he would do something to himself to see that they don't do without, with insurance?
I mean, I honestly and truly, deep down in my heart, do not believe he would do that. I really don't, just because.
And I understand. You know, I'm having to ask some really, really personal questions.
I know.
And I appreciate you bearing with me on this.
I mean, I really.
And I didn't have a great amount of time to examine y'all's house and the bedroom, but it's just, and he was not there when I got there. They were already loading into the ambulance, but
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. It is quite all right.
I'm sorry.
It is quite all right. You want to take a small break?
It's not going to make any difference. I mean, he may have been depressed, but I honestly, truly don't believe he would do that. I really don't, just because that's all he ever talks about is teaching Chase how to play baseball. I mean, that's what he wants. He's always wanted to Chase to play baseball, I mean, because that's what Keith did. And of course, every man wants their boys to be just like them, except for and he would tell Chase after he'd get upset. He'd tell him, and he'd sit him down and say, Daddy shouldn't have acted that way. That was wrong. I don't want you acting that way. I meant he would step up every time. Anytime he knew he messed up, he would step up and admit it.
He was a little overbearing on him and stuff.
Yeah, and he would. He loved him too much. And I think that's why I'd get frustrated is because he wanted them to be more than what they were being. He would just forget that they were 5, 2, and 1. They were his world.
And you being his wife, loving your husband, saw the blood on the sheets. Was there any weapons on the bed?
I honestly saw nothing other than just the foam coming out of his mouth, and I tried to shake him. And when I tried to shake him, that's when I noticed something by his head, and I kind of leaned in more to look, and that's when I went to hollering at the kids, "Get out, get out, get out."
What did you see?
I just saw the red, and I automatically assumed it was blood just because, and so that's when I started calling, and it was just like I don't know.
I've got crime scene people at your house right now. They're going to be searching the house, the grounds and all that. Any problems between you and Keith that I need to be aware of? We discussed earlier that, also, since I read your rights by us talking, you're waiving your rights. You understand what waiving your rights means. Means you agree to talk to me at any time until you want your rights back, then you can stop. You don't think he would have harmed himself?
Honestly, deep down in my heart, I really do not think he would have.
I'm sorry.
I said, honestly and truly, deep down in my heart, I do not believe he would have.
Any promise between you two guys, any outside y'all's marriage affairs or anything like that?
No, strictly the only problems we've ever had has been money. So,
He hadn't been abusive to you or anything like that?
No, he's never hit me, no.
Just
talking.
Verbally abusive?
Yeah. And that's, everybody gets that way, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So, nothing.
Would it have made you angry enough to harm your husband?
I love my husband. And that's what I was telling him last night, that it's half of my fault that we're in the position that we're in. And that I was in tears last night talking to him, and he was hugging me and everything else. No, we have been through so many things. There's no way.
How long y'all been married?
6.5 years. Granted, there's been times I swore I was leaving, and there's been times he swore he was leaving, but I would never hurt him.
Yeah.
I would do absolutely nothing but harm the boys. If anything that happened to either one of us, they would be the people that would suffer.
Yeah.
The detective then moves quietly into motive territory, probing 3 pressure points: financial strain, the state of the marriage, and life insurance. Darlene's answers blend admission with softening. She acknowledges they were falling behind on bills, mentions the idea of a home equity line of credit as a solution, and lets out small laughs when talking about her raise and saving money, a kind of nervous humor that smooths over how serious their money problems really were. That lightness right after she admits financial stress is a classic form of minimization. Recognize the issue, then immediately cushion it so it doesn't sound as bad. When the conversation turns to insurance, she offers detailed information without being pushed: health and dental coverage through Keith's job, a modest policy for the boys, and separate life insurance policies for both adults with Farm Bureau. In interrogation psychology, that level of unsolicited detail often signals that the subject already knows how important the topic is. By presenting the policies as long-standing, shared, and ordinary, she's trying to frame them as background noise rather than motive. It's a preemptive normalization. Get ahead of the suspicion before it fully forms.
You at any time touch him?
Well, I mean, I know I physically did, like I shook his leg when I was trying to get his attention, but phone's in my pocket, I just turned it on.
The reason I asked is, we got some rangers at the house, some Texas Rangers that are assisting with the crime scene stuff. They found what they think might be blood in y'all's bathroom sink.
I don't know, as I said, I haven't, other than touching his leg, that is the only part I believe I touched of him.
So you don't remember going after touching maybe any bloody area?
No, I was literally, my cell phone was on my dresser, which is on his side of the bed. When I couldn't get him to respond to me, I turned directly from there, picked up the phone and, turned it on, and then, of course, had to wait for the service to hit and hit 911. And I had the kids and I was corralling them.
But you never at any time went to that sink?
Not to my knowledge, by any form or fashion.
When y'all walk in y'all's bedroom, darling,
Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I guess the door is kind of right there.
Yeah.
Well,
it's actually, it's the hallways right here. We have another little door, and the gun case sits right here.
Okay, so this is where the door would be that goes outside the drive. I got you.
Yeah.
So the gun case is right here.
Yeah.
Where's the keys kept for this?
On top.
Who all knows that?
Honestly, I don't know. And the officer there asked me, could you see it from the top? And I told him, of course I can't, but I've noticed like when he's going to look, he has to get up on his toes a little bit, and he's 5'9". But as long as he stands on his toes.
Do you know how many guns in the house?
I know he had his deer rifle, which was in a case all by itself in the back room. And that was only because it was still left out.
Plastic case, hard case?
It's hard. It's a hard case.
Hard case.
But it's portable.
Okay, hard case. Okay.
And then I know he had some type of handgun. Don't ask me what it is because I have no idea.
Okay. Was it any type of case?
I honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
And in the gun cabinet itself, I know just walking back and forth, there might have been 3 guns in there. And one of them actually might have been a BB gun. I don't know. His dad would be the one to actually ask those questions, because that's not anything I mess with. And the boys will jack with the thing all the time, and I'm always holding them. Get away from there, because
And I really appreciate your patience with me on this, Darlene, but I'm trying to figure out, with you dealing with the kids, and you're kind of a half hard sleeper, half light sleeper, and you could hear the kids, but there had to have been a gunshot that went off inside that house, and gunshots are loud.
And that's what I keep trying to physically rack my brain about. I had the door closed to the kids' bedroom, but our bedroom, we always keep it open. And
was it open when you went down the hall?
It was open because I was hollering at him to turn his alarm clock off.
Does Keith normally sleep on his back?
Normally never, but in probably the last couple of weeks, he's gotten to where he snores really bad, and that's when he's snoring, is when he's laying on his back. And so, but normally he lays on his side.
What side? Facing you or facing away?
I'd say majority-wise, probably facing the wall, opposite of me. Normally, just
Is
but
he a heavy sleeper?
very much so. That's why I'm the one that's always up with kids.
Yeah. All right. So you and your husband were talking last night about your finances. From 5 to 8, you were in Temple. You got home around 8.
Mhm.
So y'all, did you cook supper? Was something ready?
I cooked it before I left,
Okay.
and I had the boys.
So you didn't eat though?
No.
Because you ate with right?
Right. I made him a plate, made the boys a plate, and it was gone. And I just made hamburger helper.
I love it.
It's quick and easy.
So you went to Temple, met her at Bud Records. Did you have to pick her up since your kid was in the shop?
No, actually, she was already at the mall, so I had no idea how or
She got
who.
there.
Yeah. I just met her at the entrance. And she told me she had some other things to do and she would be fine.
Y'all entertain guests at the house often, or friends coming over?
I mean, we used to a lot, and here lately we've both gotten so busy, it just, we will definitely have normally every June and end of August and in March have huge parties at the house, supposedly for kids' birthday parties, but it turns into adult parties and everything else. So, and we're talking anywhere from probably 35 up to 90 people sometimes.
So a lot of people knew what some of y'all's house looked like, weapons and all that.
Yeah, because it's all been the same. I haven't changed much of anything.
Like I said, Darlene, I really appreciate your help in this. I'm just trying to sort out the events that occurred and you not hearing a gunshot. I'm just kind of confused a little bit. Can you tell me that?
The only thing I can say is I did wake up and I looked at the clock at 5:15, but I don't know why I woke up. I just remember rolling over and seeing the clock. It said 5:15, and I said,
Any other noise in the house?
no, I heard absolutely nothing.
Does it concern you that someone could have been in the house?
Oh, yeah, because I did not get scared until I turned around and I saw the guns were gone out of the gun case. My gun case was empty.
That was around 6.
Yeah, and I did not get scared until that point because I'm there a lot of times with the kids by myself.
But you don't know if you left that door open.
Yeah, I'll be very honest. I remember unlocking it because it said it's very hard to unlock.
Do you
And
remember locking it?
that's what I'm saying. I do not physically remember if I locked it or didn't lock it.
But when the police got there, was it unlocked?
They came in the front door.
Did you have to unlock the front door?
Yes. Yeah. And I had to unlock the French doors when I hollered at Gunner to get up on the porch too.
Did you lock those back?
And, I assume I did the French doors, but I don't know. I'll be very honest, I don't know. And the front door, I never touched it again after I let him come in. The officer. So, but it was locked. And I was still on the phone with the dispatch. And as I can say, between when I went...
So you did unlock the front doors when you threw the dirty diaper out and hollered at Gunner.
The French doors is in the back.
Right.
I had to do that when I unlocked it, but when I did the dirty diaper, it's on the side door.
Side door, okay.
And I had to unlock it.
But you think you unlocked the French door? Did you?
I'm almost positive I locked the French door back.
Excuse me. That thought, interruption. detective I've got at the hospital said that they need the wife there to make some medical decisions on behalf of your husband. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if you'll just bear with me just a few more minutes, I'm going to get you to the hospital. Until I can sort through what's going on, Darlene. Are you listening to me?
Yes, I'm listening.
Everyone's a suspect right now until I can determine how your husband suffered this gunshot wound. That's not to take away that he could have done it himself. You understand this?
Yeah.
If there was a gun on that bed and you moved it to save his integrity or anything like that, I need to know now.
I did not move a gun.
Okay. Did you harm your husband?
No, I did not harm my husband.
You and I've been working, we've built a pretty good relationship here. You know, I'm trying to figure out what happened.
I know.
That's all I'm trying to do right now. I may need to collect a DNA sample from you, Darlene, like I explained to you a while ago when I read you your rights.
Uh-huh.
It's just a process of elimination. Until I can figure out who else was in y'all's home, everyone in my mind is responsible for what's going on. Okay, because you're the only one that was in the house that can tell me what's going on.
I know.
Kids can't tell me. Your husband can't tell me right now. Yeah, and I apologize. I'm trying to be just as sensitive as I can. I've got counselors on standby, and we'll deal with them later. Okay. And I really appreciate you working with me with this, because you're going to have to help me.
I know. And the only thing that I can say of maybe why I didn't per se, it registered that was a different sound maybe when it went off, is because I did have the movie going and the door was shut to that room.
You mean the sound at 5:15?
Yeah, whatever, or why I woke up, because the movie was just about to go off.
Do you know of anybody that was going to come into the house?
No, no one should have been
The
coming.
door unlocked for someone to come in the house.
No, I mean, no one should have been in my house, period, except for us. And that's my mother-in-law.
Well, and if you want to.
Later, the detective returns to a deceptively simple question. Was Darlene ever afraid that someone might have been inside the house? The answer becomes one of the most revealing parts of the entire interview. She now claims that fear only hit her after she saw the gun cabinet empty. That's immediately problematic because in her original version of events, when she first described finding the cabinet open, she never mentioned being scared at all. She said she shouted to Keith that the guns were gone. There was no mention of panic, no urge to hide the kids, no thought of barricading herself or calling for help. Now, under renewed questioning, she retrofits fear into the moment, an emotional patch added after the fact to make her story sound more human. This pattern is common in deceptive interviews. Once people realize their initial account feels emotionally flat or unnatural, they try to plug in missing feelings later. The trouble is, genuine fear almost always appears at the moment of discovery, not as a revised reaction after time has passed. Just as striking is what Darlene never does. Throughout the entire interview, she doesn't once ask detectives for an update on Keith's condition, nor does she push to be taken to the hospital. Her phone is in her pocket. At any point, she could have tried to call. That level of emotional distance is highly unusual for a wife whose husband has been shot in the head. In the end, it is Darlene who asks to go to him. The detective receives a call from hospital staff requesting her presence, and only then do they drive her there. Doctors fight for Keith, but the injury to his brain is catastrophic. He's declared brain dead, removed from life support, and he dies. According to Keith's father, Darlene never broke down the way he expected a grieving spouse to. She showed some tears, some outward mourning, but not the raw, overwhelming collapse he thought he would see. After Keith's death, detectives asked her to return to the station to continue the interview. She agreed, but by then the tone had shifted. Investigators weren't just gathering facts, they were pressing for a confession. When she felt that change, Darlene abruptly ended the conversation and asked for a lawyer. Roughly 3 weeks later, she was arrested. Her bond was set at $50,000, which she posted that same night. Keith's parents, convinced she was still innocent, allowed Darlene and the children to live with them. For months, she remained free but under a cloud, existing in a kind of legal limbo, not convicted, but no longer just a grieving widow. Even then, investigators were missing one critical piece of evidence: Keith's .22 caliber pistol, the gun they believed had been used. While the case stalled on that point, Darlene tried to reshape her life. She began looking for a new place to live and reached out to real estate developer Robert Pavella. He told her he had no finished houses available, but he did have some land she could build on. The property was quiet and picturesque, large oak trees casting shade over a still pond. Darlene was immediately drawn to it and said she loved it. But only a few weeks later, her enthusiasm changed shape. Darlene told Robert she still wanted the land, but now she didn't want the pond. She asked for it to be filled in, saying it was too dangerous for her children. By this time, Robert had heard about the shooting and the ongoing investigation. The sudden shift from loving the pond to wanting it buried set off alarms in his mind. He began to suspect that Darlene might have used that water as a dumping ground for the murder weapon. On the morning of January 4th, a dive team was sent into the pond. Beneath the murky surface, they recovered a firearm, Keith's missing .22 caliber pistol, the weapon investigators believed had ended his life. With the gun finally in hand, the case was presented to a grand jury. Their decision was swift. Darlene Gentry was indicted for first-degree murder. When the case moved toward trial, Darlene remained convinced she would be acquitted. Even with the pistol recovered, prosecutors knew they faced an uphill battle. There was no direct physical proof tying her to the act of throwing the gun into the pond. On paper, it was still a circumstantial case, one built on behavior, timing, and choices rather than a confession or clear forensic trail. Convincing a jury that a former beauty queen, a nurse, and a mother of 3 had executed her husband would require more than just a recovered weapon. It would require a narrative they believed. In opening statements, the prosecution laid out their version of events. They argued that Darlene shot Keith, staged the scene to mimic a break-in, and then called 911, not primarily to save his life, but to sound innocent on tape. The defense pushed back hard. They told the jury that Darlene's voice during the 911 call reflected shock, not guilt. Her lawyers argued that from the very beginning, investigators locked onto her and never let go. In their telling, Robinson police decided early that Darlene was the culprit and built the case around that assumption, focusing on her and never seriously looking beyond her as a suspect. As testimony unfolded, prosecutors widened the lens. They didn't limit themselves to the night of the shooting. They zeroed in on what Darlene did afterward, the visit to the property with the pond and her later insistence that the water be filled in. On the stand, Robert described how he reached out to a police officer friend to voice his concerns. Then Texas Ranger Steve Foster testified, explaining how the weapon had been found and unveiling a crucial twist. The Rangers hadn't just located the gun, they had set a trap. They asked Robert to tell Darlene the pond would have to be drained before it could be filled, hoping she would return to recover anything she had hidden there. Investigators placed a hidden camera near the spot where the pistol had been discovered. The plan paid off. Not long after, Darlene appeared at the pond, searching in the exact area where the gun had been pulled from the water. It was the visual evidence prosecutors needed, a behavioral smoking gun, to match the physical one. When the Rangers first recovered the pistol, they quietly marked its location with a small wooden stick. Later, in the hidden camera footage, Darlene can be seen combing that same area, moving frantically near the marker as if she knew exactly where to look. More than a year after Keith's death on February 8, 2007, the jury returned to the courtroom. After about 5 hours of deliberation, they delivered their verdict, guilty of murder. The judge sentenced Darlene Gentry to 60 years in prison. If you found this case breakdown insightful, consider liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and turning on notifications so you don't miss future investigations.